the violent acts of destruction and physical assaults being perpetrated by citizens of our great country. These criminal acts were occurring all over our beloved country, but not in Beaumont. Millions of dollars of destruction were being created in many cities in America, but not in Beaumont. People were gravely injured and murdered because of senseless and cowardly acts, but not in Beaumont. I was born and raised in Beaumont and had not been more proud of our citizens the past few weeks. We know that our citizens of all races are angry, sad, frustrated, and looking for answers. Instead of rioting, instead of looting, instead of committing violent acts on their fellow citizens, our citizens chose a peaceful approach. They chose to hold peaceful marches, rallies, seminars, and informative meetings with local leaders in law enforcement, local government, political, and elected officials. I have been a police officer my entire adult life, and as Dana just noted, that's a heck of a long time. But from a law enforcement perspective, when a police officer commits a crime, it adversely affects good law enforcement personnel everywhere. During the past 8.5 years as the chief of police, we have worked tirelessly to gain the respect and trust of our citizens. We realize that no matter how hard we try, there are some people that distrust us, dislike us, and disagree with the things that we're trying to accomplish. This will not deter us. We also realize that we have a tremendous amount of support from the majority of our citizens. Make no mistake, the support from our citizens is greatly appreciated. During the past few weeks, we've had several meetings and attended rallies with leaders from the black community. These meetings have revealed many things that are troubling to the black community. We have changed some of our tactics and protocol as a result of these meetings. We have other meetings scheduled in upcoming weeks with different groups to see if we can find some common ground to make our community a better place to live for all races. As proud as I am of our citizens, I'm extremely proud of our police officers and civilians. During the past several months, because of the coronavirus and the violent aftermath of Mr. Floyd's senseless and horrible death, we have asked our officers to do a job that has become the most difficult in law enforcement history. Our officers have to worry about virus exposure, keeping the peace, protecting and serving, while knowing that at any time they may respond to a call that requires the use of force. Our officers are still doing proactive police work in an environment that at times can be very hostile. They realize that everyone is watching them now more than ever, with recording devices recording their every move. I attend shift meetings and watch and listen to these officers, and I'm amazed at the way they're handling the extra stress that society has placed on them. Our leadership and staff have done an incredible job in keeping their morale up. Our officers and civilians watch the news and hear all the talk about defunding police departments and police reforms, yet they still are doing an excellent job. Our civilian employees are working tirelessly alongside our officers in this troubling time. We are very appreciative of the support we have had from our mayor, our city manager, and our city council. We are aware that in other cities, mayors and city leaders are throwing their law enforcement personnel under the bus, but not here, and we're very thankful. In our following PowerPoint presentation, we will show our citizens all the things that we have been doing and plan to do to make Beaumont a safer city for all. Once again, we thank the ladies and gentlemen of the Rotary for giving us this opportunity to speak with you today. You can go ahead. This is just I'll try not to bore you guys with a bunch of stats, but this is our personnel department staffing. I am so proud of the leaders that we have to help our officers go through their daily shifts with in a safe manner, an efficient manner. And I have some great people around me helping me make the decisions, and I'm very proud of them. One of the things, real quickly, a study of 62 agencies by an International City County Management Association Center for Public Safety recommend that at least 60% of staffing level in patrol of our personnel should be in patrol. This is the boots on the ground effect. We have 71% of our officers assigned to the patrol division. These are the officers that are assigned on a daily basis to patrol the streets. Real quickly, going through our separation and hiring, we have had 150, since I've been the chief, we have had 142 officers have separated from the department. We have hired 169 officers. 39 officers have a sign-on bonus, have received a sign-on bonus. This is a bonus that City Manager Kyle Hayes has allowed us to have to attract more qualified and experienced applicants. Training is very, very important to our officers. We have an excellent training program. We have all sorts of diverse training, from tactical to de-escalation training. We have a recognition and response to intellectual and development disabilities training, homeless veterans, body-worn training, risk management. We know that we have to stay ahead of the game, and our officers are very well trained, and we're very proud of our training program. Our advocacy and awareness presentations. We have had presentations, especially the last several weeks, with the NAACP, the 100 Black Men, our CAPS folks, the Clergy and Police Partnership program that we have. We realize that one of the most important responsibilities we have in our department is to educate our citizens. We want our citizens to know why we do some of the things we do and what we expect them to do should they encounter our officers on the street. For instance, a traffic stop. Sergeant Guidry has a very good video that you can get online in our department that tells what the youngsters, especially the youngsters, what to do should they be stopped by officers on a traffic call. But we have, again, educating our citizens is one of the most important things that we do, and we've had several different functions and venues that we attend. So the Ward 3 Federation, Councilman Samuel runs a special grouping of citizens of Ward 3. He calls it a federation, but this is apart from our neighborhood association. We're going to do more and more of our educational programs and some of the forums that we put on weekly. One of the most important things that we do also, and we realize this is going to be our top priorities for a long, long time, is trying to connect with our youth. We have many youth programs that do connect with our youth, that we target our youth. We have a reading program that in the elementary schools, kindergarten to the second grade, something we're very proud of. We have 13 officers involved in our mentoring program. This is officers that have gone through different types of training and volunteered to assist us. And when we start talking to kids, and when the virus subsides, we'll be back out there. Cops and Kids, that's an excellent program that we have. We have a carnival, the Cops and Kids Carnival. It's around Halloween time, and it is amazing how many kids, more and more, are wearing police uniforms as costumes. We think that's fantastic, and that's indicative of maybe some of the things we're doing. We do also have more of the adults wearing police uniforms, but I'm not really sure what that means. But we're reaching out to our kids and in so many different areas, and you'll see in the coming slides. Santa in Blue is a great program that we do every Christmas, and we there's 5 to 10 families that we go around on the have a parade. I think the Santa and Blue, and then Officer Burmaster is one of the ones they lead the parade, and we go to 10 to 12 houses and give Christmas presents to those kids who would not have had a Christmas. We're very proud of that program. And we also have an IEA. We'll talk a little bit more about that. It's our Cops and Kids Fitness program. IEA's Regina Rogers and now Kim Phelan, and it's a great program that we partnered with them, and it kind of has the same thing that we had that the PAL program did. It's not the PAL program, but they do the same things with the same objectives, getting our kids involved in a positive environment with our police officers. I'm a big dog fan, and we got a program that we call a Canine Cadet program, and it's been very successful before the virus came. We feel like if you get the puppy dogs involved, and the kids love the puppy dogs, that's a warm and fuzzy, literally a warm and fuzzy program that we're working on and have been very successful for. We get our dogs that we feature every week adopted within hours almost, and we're also looking into a comfort dog program. Like I said, kids love dogs, and we got some good dogs that we're trying to train or looking at training and getting them involved in some of our kids program. A little bit more on our mentoring program. This is a program that we work with Regina and Kim, the kids that are at-risk youth, and they have been trained in trust-based relational intervention. They meet every Monday and Wednesday. We do life lessons, physical stuff. We're going to look into a jiu-jitsu program, something that doesn't require striking or kicking, and something that the kids will enjoy. And we have a lot of volunteers in our department that want to get involved with this program. Our mentors, this is something that Vernon Durden came up with an idea last summer, that we get out in the community and with ice chests and fill it with ice and water and Gatorade, and go to the parks and spend some time with the kids, and spend some and Regina Rogers and Kim Phelan have offered to buy equipment. We'll go out there and give the kids footballs and basketballs and sporting equipment, and our officers will be allowed to spend some time with these kids. That's something that's very important to us, and we haven't done enough of that, but we will. So we'll be looking for us more in the neighborhoods and also more in the parks. We have, again, the children and the kids are an important part of our program, and we got programs that entertain the kids, educate the kids, Explorer program, high school age kids, and also a college program that we do. Again, IEA will be I talked to Regina and Kim yesterday, and IEA will be a big partner for us in the future. The Citizens Police Academy. This is the interactive programs that we have for the adults. The Citizen Police Academy, Citizens Advisory Committee. We have our officers, Cody Guidry and his group at the PCR, go out into the community and educate our kids. And educate the citizens on things like what to do if an active shooter comes up. So that's something else that we do. We have just about any type of training program that the citizens would want. If you'd have told me that I would allow one of my police cars to be painted pink about 10 years ago, I would have laughed. I said, no, I don't think so. But when you're dealing with Regina and Norma, they're pretty persuasive, as many of y'all know. We painted this police car. It really looks pretty good. We painted it pink and had folks with cancer survivors sign it, and it was a very neat deal. And again, it's a great partnership that we have with Gift of Life. one of the things that we have done, and we did this 9 years ago, it's very important to us. We knew that the use of force was going to be an important part of what we're doing as a law enforcement agency. We wanted to change our use of force policy, and we looked all over the United States and came up with Austin PD that had a really good use of force policy. So we tweaked it a little bit and changed the name of it. It's now our response to resistance policy. We went one step further. We took our policy before we even implemented it to the United States Attorney's Office here locally, the Department of Justice, and they looked it over and basically signed off on our use of force policy. So we're proud of that. There's not a lot of departments in the United States that have gone the extra mile to get the Department of Justice to sign off on their use of force policy. We also had an assistant United States attorney teach everybody in the department use of force. And so, we know how important that is, how important it is to our department, how important it is to the community. So that's what we've done, and we're proud of that. We need help in recruiting. We're not doing that a good job as we like with recruiting, especially in the minorities. But so we're reaching out to the Crime Stoppers Board and 100 Club folks, trying to help us get more qualified minorities. Let's see. One of the things we want to do as far as the kids is try to get a youth advisory committee started. That's something that we're going to plan talk to some of our younger folks in these meetings coming down the road. We'll talk to them about it. And again, one thing I want to mention as we're running out of time a little bit is we have a mental health peace officer with Spindletop MHMR. This officer is a police officer, but he rides around with folks from Spindletop MHMR, and it's a mental health intervention program that we're proud of. We do follow up on visits to individuals for individuals who have been in crisis. And last year, the calls resulting in emergency detention order took an average of 3 hours and 5 minutes each. That's for our patrol officers. So we're not taking officers off the streets now to deal with this. One thing real quickly, as we're getting to the end, again, I don't want to make you go crazy with a bunch of stats, but something to think about. In 2019, we arrested 6,903 people. All this time, all these people that over a 9-year period, that's a lot of folks, and we've had virtually zero complaints. We've had issues with them from time to time, but nothing major. So it tells me, and believe that's an important part of what we do. We monitor our arrests and our use of force, but our officers are doing a good job in that, even though they know how many people are watching them. But we're proud of that. We monitor that quite a bit, our video body cams, and we're proud of what we've seen so far. Let's go over that. Special summary. Let's just do that. I want to give time for some questions, but I want to end in the slide portion of the program with one little graph, and everybody says that I was concerned about the violent crime. Cody, have that on there? Okay. It has been trending down. We are doing a better job than what social media would like folks to believe. We're proud of what we've done. We got a lot of work to do. We'll be meeting with a lot of different groups coming up, and to try to keep ahead of the curve. And we're going to be seeking citizens' input, and we do appreciate again the opportunity to speak with you guys and see if we have time for any questions.
There are time for questions if anyone would like to ask one.
I have just a comment. This is Regina. Jimmy, thank you so much for that beautiful presentation. We're so proud of you and what you've done for the city of Beaumont, and obvious from what you have told us today, the complaints have been minimal, and you all have worked very hard to as we say, do the right thing. And we're proud of you. And we're very proud of our Inspire, Encourage, Achieve partnership with you and the work that you've done with the children and teaching them boxing and helping them develop better character traits. And this is a program that you all have been doing now for a number of years, and not only in the detention center, but also weekly at the boxing rings. So we are grateful. Kim Thielen is my guest today. She's on. She's our executive director, and if she has anything to add to it, I'd love for her to say something.
Thank you. Hi, Regina. Sorry, I wasn't anticipating speaking, but that's okay. We're so thankful for Chief. He's always very accessible, and for now he answers our phone calls. I don't know how much longer he'll answer my phone calls, but always supportive and kind, and such a hard worker. And we're just thankful for the partnership with the Cops and Kids program. It's really important for our kids as we educate them on what's going on during these turbulent times, and make sure they get good information and respond appropriately for their safety and also the safety of the community. So we're thankful. Thank you, Chief and Regina and all of you in Rotary for your support.
I am so blessed to have such great people working with me, and our Assistant Chief Jeff Coe reminds me all the time how old I am and how much help I need to do this job. And I am truly blessed to have folks like Wayne Jeffcoat and Jim Clay. I hope the city's proud of their police department because it's a damn good one.
Hey, Chief, I just want to echo about accessibility. I think that's really important. And you guys do a good job of it.
Well, thank you. Sometimes it's a pain in the neck, but you get a beautiful note like Larry Beaulieu and his judge wife, and they gave us a nice thank you note here just recently, and that means so much to us. The fact that you guys are out there and care about what we're doing. We're trying very hard. I hope you know that, and we're going to make mistakes, but not because we're bad cops, but because we're human beings. But we're trying very hard, and we're listening very hard also to our citizens, and we'll continue that. I promise you.
Chief, go ahead.
Chief, what is your biggest need from the community? How can we help you?
Well, one of the things, I mean, seriously, I mentioned earlier, but we need qualified recruits. We're competing with folks from ExxonMobil, and all these plants are going after the same folks that we are, and especially in a minority. Again, Vernon Durden, I can bring his name up again. He's our best recruiter in the minority community. We just need more and more qualified folks because we're having trouble. We really are having trouble, as they are nationwide, in recruiting and maintaining qualified applicants.
Do you have a feeling for how the data looks for 2020 versus 2019? I'm curious whether the pandemic has made things better or worse, and on the violent crime type data?
That's a great question. And violent crime rose a little bit this last month, but the impact from the virus on the Beaumont Police Department has not been significant. And again, our officers are doing. We try to limit some of the exposure to some of the folks out there and change our protocol a little bit. But our officers did such a good job, and our citizens, for the most part, are doing a good job too. So the impact has not been significant for on our department.
Thank you.
This is Chuck Mason. I'm curious. It looked like you have about 200 people on the police force from your statistics earlier. What kind of target do you really have? And let's say if City Council gave you all the money you needed, what size force are you really trying to recruit?
That's a great question. We have 260 folks, 260 positions, and sworn positions allotted to us by city charter, and we have like 45, 50 civilians. The problem is we would love to have 10, 15 more than the 260, but we can't even hire 260 people. And that's why it's been a heck of a challenge. We have all sorts of programs, like as you can see, that target young folks and target the hiring age of qualified applicants. We're just not been able to get them. So that's a big challenge. And it's not just here in Beaumont; it's nationwide because our officers are. I mean, our department's competing with ExxonMobil and Total and places like that. So that's the thing. Even though I think our city manager's been great with us and allowing us to hire as many folks as we can, but because of the difficulty in hiring qualified recruits in the first place, it's become quite a challenge.
Hey, Jimmy, I'd like to say that I hope that the citizens will think about, and my involvement over the 30 years, the extensive training these police officers have to go through to meet all the different challenges. They don't realize, I mean, there's a lot of training involved to make sure that they handle these calls properly, what they're going to meet, and what they're exposed to. So I hope that the citizens out there will really realize just how much training. They just don't go out there and say, okay, you're a policeman. There's a lot of training to go into this, and I hope they appreciate that.
Well, I hope so too. And we have so many different things that train our officers, but also help to train our citizens. And the neighborhood association meetings they're so important. If you're not involved in a neighborhood association meeting or a group, you need to get involved. So we meet monthly, and we'll talk about crime stats and crime that's occurring in your community. It's a good way. Also, if you, ladies and gentlemen, have not been to Citizens Police Academy, man, that's an excellent way to learn about what your department's doing, and not only Beaumont but Southeast Texas. And we have a ride-along programs. We have so many things that I haven't been able to talk about in a short period of time. But we're trying very hard for you, ladies and gentlemen, in the Beaumont area, and we're not going to give up. So, and we do appreciate the support that we've had the last 9 or 10 years, and we're going to try to do what we can to keep that support.
What about the Beaumont Independent School District officers and the city police? Is there any relationship between them, or do you interact with them? What's going to happen when the schools reopen? That type of thing. Can you give us any insight on that?
Yeah, Chief Malvo is doing a good job with what he's got, and he's got a difficult job. And yeah, we talk with him. I talk with him on a pretty regular basis, and he knows that if he needs anything from us, all he has to do is call. And we're going to try a couple of programs with him, joint programs with him, try to teach a class on criminal justice and BISD here soon, as soon as we can get it going. But yeah, we have a good relationship with the BISD police, and they have a tough job.
Hey, Chief, one of the big questions that comes up in these discussions about recent events is qualified immunity. What kind of a commentary when you're asked for comment on qualified immunity, what do you say?
Well, I think our officers have a tough job tough enough job as it is, without having litigation. Had to worry about litigation that keeps them exposed. So I'm not a big fan of that. Our officers do a heck of a job, and it's a very dangerous job. It's getting more and more dangerous. So I think that's a great question, but I think our officers are doing fine, and they know that they've got to know that they have the support of the legal system here as we established. And so again, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm losing that.
It was along the same line. I don't know if Dana was driving at this or not, but how can we help the morale of the police department, the people in the police department?
It is amazing, how, and some of y'all do this. It is amazing how many folks on a weekly basis pay for food and bring it down to the police department, and how officers respond to that. That means a lot, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all have no idea how lonely that job can be sometimes, and how dangerous the calls that these officers go to on a regular basis, and they de-escalated these calls and come out of without any problems, and to see that you guys care that much about us that pay for meals and luncheons, and that's a big deal. And also, there's many of you out there in the community that see our officers at lunch and buy the officers lunch. It's such a small thing to you guys, but it's a big deal to our guys. Not that they cops eat food all the time, but they do, as a matter of fact. They'd love to eat. But that's just a small gesture to you guys, but it's very important to our guys to know that you guys are out there supporting us. It's not just donuts either.
Hey, Chief, one of the other things that comes up in these conversations is joint criminal responsibility. You know, the policemen are being prosecuted now more than before. And when you start having these hard conversations about what's going on now, there's some questions generally asked about along the lines of, you know, if we had 4 guys who decided to rob a convenience store and 2 went in and 1 waited at the door, and there was a guy who was a getaway driver and somebody shot and killed the clerk, they all get charged with murder. Why don't cops get treated like that? And I know that's a tough question, but that's one that people ask. How do you answer something like that?
Well, I've seen cases where it does happen. The cops do get prosecuted like that. We'll see what happens in some of these recent events. But yeah, again, I go back to what I said a while ago. Our officers have such a difficult job, and to know that they're supported by even our legislation and matters a lot. But yeah, yeah, it is a tough question. I don't really have a great answer for that. Is that I just know want everybody to be reminded how difficult our officer's job is, and on a daily basis. That's as good as it's going to get from me, Dana.
Okay. Well, I'll give you my answer later when we have another conversation.
Okay. All right.
We have some really interesting comments in the chat. Robert Turner says, thanks for being so accessible, Jimmy. Appreciate you. Vernon Durden says, he's fortunate to have a chief who's willing to continue to grow the BPD and its inclusivity for the community. Tony Clark is willing to give his non-compensated testimony on the great value of the Citizens Police Academy. And also, Vernon Pierce evidently has a story about trying to flip a cop car, not succeeding, hopefully. And then, of course, Cindy Bloodsworth is so proud of your work and wants to give her regards to everyone at the department. I know working with BPD when I was working at adult probation was such a positive experience, because we were charged at the probation office with trying to keep those people out of prison and trying to find a positive path for them. And we teamed up with your department, and that worked so well. We both learned from each other, and really it opened my eyes as to how great a department Beaumont PD has. We're so fortunate to have someone like yourself and other committed individuals in there who look at issues like mental health and different things that just need a little extra out there. They're just a different population to deal with. So I'm so proud to live in a community that has such a great department. And we thank you, Chief Singletary, for all you do to keep our community as informed as it is and as safe as it is. And thank you to your officers too. And I hope that we can pay it forward a little bit if we see them out in the community with lunch or thank you notes, or seeing somebody that might even coming across somebody who might make a good officer and sending them your way.
Absolutely, and thank you. We do have some great officers. I'd go anywhere with them. Not at Dunkin' Donuts, but I'd go a lot.
Well, one of our areas of focus in Rotary is peace building and conflict prevention. So in appreciation of you taking the time to speak with us today, our club will be making a donation in your name to the Rotary Foundation to help carry on these good works. And thank you again, Chief Singletary, for sharing with us today.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you folks.
Now coming up, our speakers next week, semi-connected to the Beaumont Police Department because their daddy works there, Jay Madison, AKA Jordan and Madison Skinner. They're currently recording artists, and they're going to take us from community theater in Beaumont, Texas to Nashville. So please join us as we hear about their adventure. The program committee will be meeting by Zoom on Monday, July 13th at 5:30. Diane Bass chairs that committee. Since we're going to be on Zoom for a while, if you have programs that you'd like to see or connections of somebody that would make a good speaker, please get with her so we can get that scheduled. And then in closing, I want to thank you all, Rotarians and guests, for attending the meeting today. And we're going to close it out with the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First,
Is it true?
Is it the truth?
second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
fourth. Will it be
Beneficial to all concerned.
And let's have some fun. Go out and make a difference.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Y'all have a great day. Thank you,
Thank
Chief
you.
Singletary.
Great job. Thank you, Chief. Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We
Thank
love
you.
you, Jimmy. We love you. We do.
Program, guys.
She's so pretty, Jackie.
Okay, Jackie.
I said that's a wrap, huh?
That's a wrap. Okay, talk to you later.
Bye. Bye, everybody.